My name's Rusty Sitton. I'm the Redneck Boat Guy. I build two-cylinder racing outboard boats. I build the props to go on them, and we also sail a 33-foot catamaran named See Y'all Later. Hope you enjoy the channel. All right, I want to say something about bottom design. That's a big thing for runabouts because, you know, hydroplanes, you can do a lot with the aerodynamics, packing air underneath it, but a runabout, it's going to set on the water, and you got to figure out the best way to make that happen where it's fastest. So what I found out, and actually Jimmy Campisi originally came up with the idea and was asking me about it, and we did it. There were some inherent problems that we had doing this, but and it's not new. It's not something that that nobody's done, but what we thought about was, you know, when you reduce wetted surface, it's easier to push, right? So what I did and what we did back in the day, but now on this boat, I did it about here, about where this rib is. You probably can't tell it, but there's a slight break from this surface to this surface. It turns right there a little bit. And what that is, if this was sitting dead flat like it is on the table here, that's a 2-degree rise, because I want that boat setting up on a 2-degree angle. That's where it sets, where it likes to ride. And this is just totally flat to the water back here. It's not gaining. It's not, you know, it's not cupped. It's not anything. It's flat. That's a dance floor. That's what we call a dance floor. So that boat will get up there and dance on this very back end, and it's faster. So I don't know if it's 14 inches, 16 inches, somewhere in there. Some people run a shorter break. Some people run a long break. The longer that break is, probably the better it accelerates out. But one of the problems we had, me and Jimmy, boy, we could make a boat go fast, but we couldn't make it turn for heck because we were putting probably a little bit too much relief in the back of that runabout. And what happened there was when you go to stop, when you slow down to turn, this acts as a fulcrum, a lever point to where when the front comes down flat, now this is a relief back here, right, isn't it? So that lifts that motor out of the water, and that boat is spin out. So we had to do some things to figure out how to fix that, and we did. One of the things I did on this boat, you know, it was designed, like I say, not to turn. It was just a steady rise from here on up. But what I had to do to keep it from spinning out like that was I made a little ball up there on the front. And, you know, where I got that was from Ranger bass boats. If you look at a Ranger bass boat from underneath, it's a V-bottom, you know, or a modified V-bottom. That line from the back goes straight, and up near the front, it goes down, makes a little whoop-de-doo for it. It goes up to the nose. Well, what that does is that makes a wheelbase, doesn't it? From the back of the boat to up there. So when you plant that thing in the water and turn it, now you got a little drag up here on the front that's helping pull that down. Plus, it stops it from going too low in the front. And that's what me and Jimmy's first runabout did. Man, that sucker was blazing fast. But when you set it down to turn it, it just whoop around. There was no, it would lift the motor out of the water because we run so high right on the props. Anyway, I want to talk about the bottom a little bit. And like I say, this bottom is flat as a flitter. I mean, it, you know, it comes, I don't know, 14, 16, 18 inches. Everybody's got their own thoughts on how much you need as far as relief back there. But if you go with a real short little relief and it's pretty steep, some people do that, and it's kind of right on the bleeding edge, you know. I like a little bit longer, just like I like a 35-inch bottom. I think that's kind of ideal, but I like a little bit longer. You can almost see the break right there. I like a little bit longer relief on mine, but only 2 degrees, because I want that riding flat to the water. I want that to be like, you know how an air hockey table works, right? You turn the air off, and that hockey puck, it won't even go nowhere. It'll just bloom. It'll just slide across halfway across the table there. But you turn that air on where it's got air underneath it, and that thing will go all over that table, won't it? So that's what I'm trying to do here. That's what everybody does, is you create kind of an air hockey effect. to where that boat is sitting on a little bit of air. Now, you can't pack air on a runabout. You can't do it. But there ain't nothing says you can't make the front end flat like I did mine, to where it's not dumping it out the sides way out in here. So anyway, that's why this boat works. Another thing, while we're sitting right here, let me see if I can clean it up here. And we can go a little bit further forward too. But that's called a lap strake. I don't know if you can see it, but that boat is straight up. It's got an edge on it that's straight up. And that edge changes a little bit down through here. A little bit less in the back, a little bit more up in here. And that makes these flat turners work. The amount of lap strake you got and where it is real important on this. And since I was making changes, I ain't gonna show you, but I knew I might be cutting into that, so I measured it and wrote it here on my bench exactly how much lap strake I got, how far forward, so I could recreate it, because it worked really good. Anyway, that's bottom design, 2 degrees of angle and 14-16 inches of flat, and then a steady roll up to the front, and lap strake. That lap strake right there. Another thing we do on the non-trips is they'll put a little lifting rail, they call it, but what it does, it's a little flat piece. It's flat to the bottom, and then it comes up. It's like a little rib. You know, if you've seen the bottom of a boat, you see the ribs in it. It's like putting a little rib right there, and what that does is it lifts that boat on this inside, or the outside rather. When the water hits here and goes up that non-trip, it lifts when it hits. Anytime water is compressed, it's going to go up. It ain't going down, it's going to come up. So it comes up and hits that little strake there, and some of it sprays off. Well, some of the waves are taller than that, aren't they? Well, they get on up here above that. But what that does, when it's totally underwater like that, that helps that boat stay up. It won't chunk and go down. It'll lift it. It'll hold it up a little bit. So where you place your little lifting strakes mean a lot. You know, you put them on an angle. Some of them put them on an angle. Some of them are flat. Some of them are long. Some of them are skinny. But on a runabout, it's super important to make those lap strakes work, along with where you put your little lifting strip, or I don't know what you call it, little piece of wood there that's flat on the bottom. And one other thing I found out looking at Seabold tunnel boats, we can't do it on a runabout, but you could do it on a hydro because we can't trap air. What would work better than a straight up side like this is if that side was, instead of being straight up like that, right, if it was tilted out just a little bit. But some people would call that trapping air. And if this angle came out and down just a little bit first before it went up, because what that does, it's like taking a piece of angle iron, right? I don't know if you know what angle iron is, but it goes straight up and straight out, 90 degrees, a little piece. If you took that and turned it down a little bit and bent it down, that makes a really smooth edge to the water. Because what happens is, when water hits this edge right here, it's not instantly compressing. It breaks that water up going up into that V. If it was flat like this, it instantly compresses and causes that boat to lift right there. Because the water's going, you know, it's going to turn it. It's going to lift. It's going to blow water down if you got an edge like that. But if you drop this edge, roll that angle iron down just a little bit to where this bottom is a little bit lower, what that does, like I say, is when you're sliding sideways on the water, it comes through there and breaks up and causes a little low pressure area back in the back edge of that angle iron with it looking down like that. So it's not a hard hit. What it does is in the heavy waves and the heavy, when you're turning real hard, it softens this edge. You still get the grip, but it softens it a little bit if you take that angle iron and turn it down, which I couldn't do because, you know, on a runabout, you can't trap air anywhere. It's got to be a displacement type hole. Anyway, that's some stuff I think I know about that.